So yesterday I was watching some videos and I was sort of trying to get back into maybe seeing if I could learn anything more about intermittent fasting, ketogenic eating, carnivore eating, low carb kind of lifestyle. I mean, where I was a few years back, well, going back almost 5 years now. And even though I've become much more tolerant and able to mix in carbohydrates, what I've noticed is this time around when it comes to just exercising and eating good, right? Whatever that means, there's like that spectrum of whatever eating good means. I really haven't had any of the success I've had previously by being much more diligent with my diet. So what I'm saying to you is me being 42 years old now, if I decide, oh my God, I'm getting too chunky. I don't like the way that I look. I don't like the way that I feel. The clothes that I really like to wear aren't fitting me in the best of ways. Historically, if I had just reduced a little bit of some of the sugar, if I had just reduced a little bit of some of the bad food and ate better and exercised, my way around it, I could find balance. But what I'm noticing is, no, I really need to eat a very, very strategic, very regimented, strict diet, led by things like bulletproof coffee or intermittent fasting from, say, 7 p.m. where I would stop eating until 12 o'clock the next day, like a big window of hours where, time restricted feeding or intermittent fasting, that I'm purposely allowing my body to not eat during that time. Not having like those rumbling stomach hunger pains because I'm so hungry because my stomach is usually distended if I eat too big a dinner or when I go out to dinner that I may have dessert. So what I'm saying to you is, through a trial period actually that was just before my surgery a year ago or a little over a year ago for my back, I did do something where I was eating pretty much carnivore keto, aka I was having very little to almost no carbohydrates, and I was eating a lot of protein and fat, and I was just walking. So I was walking in the morning, I was walking in the afternoon, I was walking in the evening, and I was making sure to predominantly just have protein, fat. And really that worked well because I remember for the vacation we took that August, which is just before I blew out my back, kind of for the last time, I went to Vegas for the World Series of Poker, and me and my wife were there for like almost a week, and I did really well. And I just remembered like I was so lean like around that time. And so I was talking to somebody about making those changes. It was relatable to their case. And I think they were so concerned with how much they had to exercise. And I was very much just trying to say, look, if we can get you to a place where you're understanding how how specific and repetitive the diet is supposed to be when you're really just eating protein and fat, which sometimes is basically saying you're eating the same thing, right? Animal protein and fat. If you have salmon, shrimp, eggs, meat, lamb, obviously if you're a vegan, this is much harder to do. You can get, the vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, macronutrients, all the type of protein and fat in like a sirloin or a ribeye steak or even the fillets, right? I know fillets and chicken breast, you think of it as just lean protein. Guys, there is fat in there too from the animal. It's okay, accept it. Cook it in butter, eat it with some avocado. You get where I'm going with that now? It's all you really need, especially if you want to be in this low carb world where your insulin level is always just low and balanced, with your blood sugar being balanced and not having these excessive spikes. I have a proof, the proof is in the pudding of a continued glucose monitor series I have in my YouTube channel somewhere, and many others out there just like it. So don't just take my word for it. And so I'm coming to this realization that, man, I need to go back to that space to get the results that I want. But also in consulting with this person, I hope that they, kind of got the, picture of what I was trying to paint, and that is what it's going to take to get control or to take control of their health. And the reason I say it like this is because this person is already on medications. This person is already tried to eat good and balanced. The problem with eating good and balanced, well, again, big spectrum, whatever that means, love you, Russ pal, whatever that means is like the food is so addictive now. Any amount of processed food, so even like a multigrain bread or even a certain kind of rice, or even if you're going to have oatmeal or sprinkle a little brown sugar in there, the way things are so hyper palatable here in the United States, and any processed food at all, that reward pleasure center, that dopamine rush is so strong that it has us going back for more. Especially, here's the big psychological thing that people don't talk about, especially when you don't get fat overnight. Because, oh my God, if you eat something that's calorically dense or has a little bit more, carbohydrate, which of course the most density is a fattening food. But if you have something that's like carbohydrate enriched, flour enriched, sugar enriched, alcohol, sugar enriched, and then you have it and it's so good and so rewarding, it's just that overdrive, like, oh my God, I want more. And because you didn't get fat overnight, because you don't get fat overnight, it takes time, just like it takes time to lose the weight. You make it back, you gain it back faster, but it takes, time to really become like very out of shape and obese and really start to have these health problems. And so this happens because, I got away with it once, let me get away with it again. This is almost what inspired some of this video. Is like last week, I went out Wednesday night after a nice exercise session and I ate too much. And I went out Thursday night because why not? Well, guess what? Friday didn't do too bad, but Saturday night, me and Jen went out for lunch after work. And, it was like, man, what a hard day. Let's go out. And next thing you know, I had 3 out of 4 days, right? 3 out of 4 days that I really ate bad. And it caught up with me. You could just feel it. I could see it. I was puffy, inflamed, all these things. Which drives me into the point about like inflammation. I found by accident, you could say, a great video of a couple on YouTube. I believe it's called The Williams Table. Great channel. A couple that really looks like they've got it dialed in on what it is to be a great loving couple. And they are older, and they went on the carnivore diet, and both of them did it together over a 90-day challenge kind of thing, and they basically reversed all their metabolic markers that were considered to be, diseased or syndrome or dangerous, right? They lowered their blood pressure, which is always going to be something that comes with losing weight. You lose weight, your blood pressure will go down about 99% of the time. Guys, I'm not saying 100% of the time. Go talk to your doctor about it. But if you lose a lot of body fat and you get healthy and you're exercising and eating the right things for you, and which a lot of time is low carb eating, just keeping things kind of steady and under control. And, eating until you're satiated. It's one thing they said in their carnivore video is they never use the word satiated so much in their life. They're satisfied. They don't feel like they need to continue to eat. So they're reversed any high blood pressure they had was gone. Blood pressure under control. Reversed the prediabetes. Reversed the hyperlipidemia. Cholesterol, not a problem. And they're just doing, great. And they're so happy because they plan their day around activities instead of planning their day around what they're going to eat. A lot of us really plan and are centric in America around planning around about what to eat or planning around when we're going to eat next. And by the way, it's totally evolutionarily appropriate to always be thinking, where's my next meal coming from? But they plan it more like, am I going to go for a walk today? What trail are we going to hike? Are we going to play tennis? Are we going to play golf? Are we going to do bowling? I don't know, I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but I hope you understand. When you start looking forward to activities, especially free activities like walking, running, jogging, cycling, free activities such as going out to feed the ducks, my new favorite thing to do where I live, tennis, whatever. If you have a racket and some sneakers, go light. You don't have to be tennis professionals. These are very inexpensive things that you can do planning around activities rather than the food that comes along with it, because it's always about food. So I wanted to just take a minute and say thank you to that channel. It was very inspiring because it's not like I was watching Joe Rogan have a podcast interview with like Seth Baker, the carnivore MD guy, which actually the carnivore MD is Paul Saladino, but Sean Baker is one of these original pioneers of, the carnivore eating and how healthy he got. He's a big advocate. You can find Dr. Sean Baker on lots of podcasts. But here I am looking at two people that typically would be asking someone like me, a doctor, a chiropractor, yes, but like someone who's been through, has experience in the keto world, but also, maybe they're a cardiologist, maybe they're a PCP, whoever, they're a functional medicine doctor, what to do, but they're over here just giving you a case study, a testimonial, the two of them together and how much it improved their life. And that made me feel so good. For them, it inspired me to do better and see if I can live the life in which I pretty much preach. And because I try so hard to practice what I preach, but I try to do the best I can. When in reality, I know that I can do better because my body deserves better, my practice deserves better, my energy towards you all out there who are my patients really deserve better. And even if some days I'm like, I can't do any better, I'm giving everything I have, which I do a lot of the time. I find, I just found out that 3 out of 4 days bad, and it's true, I can do better. And in closing, one of the final things I'm going to say is, if you're okay with just being on medication and being managed, as long as you're being honest with yourself, I'm not, thinking ill of you or talking smack. What I want you to understand is you have a choice, especially being a stable, healthy person that might be dealing with some inflammation, dealing with some joint pain, dealing with some arthritis, dealing with some cholesterol numbers, dealing with some high blood pressure that hasn't, taken you to the emergency room in the past, and you're not like, it's not life and death. You have a choice. So you look yourself in the mirror and say, oh my God, like, am I like, 10, 15, 20 pounds or more, God forbid, overweight? Just sometimes by doing the visual, the IQ, the eye test, look in the mirror. Are you looking like a, lean, fit, healthy person that can do, 40 push-ups if you're a man, 20 push-ups if you're a woman? Are you able to do, 10 to 15 assisted pull-ups banded if you're a woman? Can you do, 10 strict unassisted, non-banded pull-ups if you're a man? Can you, lift 40 pounds comfortably? Can you lift 150 pounds or deadlift your body weight, if you're a man? Can you do these functional things that are like easy when you hinge and bend? And if the answer is no, you really have to decide, what is it going to be over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Because you didn't get there overnight. How are you going to reverse it? And what's crazy is if you're eating low carb, and if you're especially eating no processed foods, and you're just doing walking and functional fitness, which doesn't have to be explosive movements, and it doesn't have to be running, like I just said, walking, planning your day around activities and not food, and then doing like functional movements once in a while, if not as much as possible, without your body, aching too bad or breaking down or needing carbs to function at this high capacity, it's very doable. So that's what people don't understand sometimes. When a guy like me is preaching like low carb world, what I'm telling you is go slow, take it easy. Just do a little bit of resistance training. Very easy. It's 20 minutes of resistance training, some curls, some push-ups, some mild squats, some split lunges, a couple of kettlebell lifts, not even swings. And then maybe you want to do something like, a calisthenic base, push-up, sit-up, squat, air squats, pull-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, air squats, sit-ups, those kinds of things, right? Stability exercises, bridging, core work, and then a lot of walking, guys. I've done so much walking in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and it's really worked out well for me if I wanted to transition back into running, whereas if I'm doing nothing because I'm not feeling my best and whatever other sob story excuse, it's very hard to get back into exercise. But as long as that blood sugar, can be stable, that insulin can be stable, blood pressure can be stable, then getting into a little bit more high intensity exercise really isn't that challenging. Of course, everyone's different. Of course, check with your doctor if you have very troubling labs, and if you're on a lot of medication, always check with your doctor if you're on those types of medication. But don't think that you have to be a prisoner of that, or, oh, it's in my family history. Yes, there are familial genes that get turned on, but environment pulls the trigger. I mean, N of one, but I'm living proof of that. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know what I'm saying. But guys, this is getting to the end of this video time length, what I have available now, but I was super inspired to make this video. I hope that it finds you in not just good health and good spirits, but that it is applicable and empowers and educates you today. And if you have any questions, of course, always feel free to reach out. Thank you.